body under a table to protect yourself. When the shaking has stopped, shut off the gas valves and turn off the electricity, and locate your way of exit by opening the doors. If you're coming out of a multi-story building, use the stairs and definitely not the elevators. When outside the building, rush to an open field and cover your head while en route. Finally, tune into a broadcasting channel and keep yourself updated on what's happening and what to do next. But remember, prevention is the best solution. This campaign is brought to you by BFM Busan 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Guess what? It is Friday. And people love saying stuff like TGIF or Fry-yay. That is definitely a thing. So let me ask you this question. Why do we find Friday so appealing? 금요일이 왜 이렇게 매력적으로 느낄까요? 네, 다 다를 거예요. Is it because you have something spectacular planned for the weekend? Or is it simply because it means it's end of the work week? Well, some psychologists say it's the autonomy the weekend gives us, meaning the freedom. Whether Friday means date night for some of you, 부러워요. 치맥 for others, or just binge watching, I don't know, an OTT reality show, let the countdown begin. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, May 16th on BEFM 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. Yes, indeed. It's Friday, and I was thinking about this whole idea of why is Friday such a bright, nice idea, even on a gloomy day like this where it is so gray and dark. But hey, any Friday in my book is amazing, wonderful. What other adjectives can we add on to Friday? Anyhow, the weather, like I just said, it is definitely getting wetter and warmer, a sign that summer is right around the corner. The humidity and the heat are definitely unpleasant, but they can also be dangerous, especially for the elderly. So with the heat coming early, the authorities have launched their heat-related illness monitoring system 5 days earlier than last year. So this goes to show you how climate has been changing. As the first year this monitoring system launched back in 2011, the system was in place from July 1st, 7월 1일. This year, the system kicked off on May 15th, the earliest ever. This is important because there were over 3,700 heat-related patients last year, an uptick of over 30% compared to the year earlier, including 34 deaths. Another summertime concern, landslides and flooding. Disasters related to the rain and wind. So in Korean, we call that 풍수해. Weather authorities forecast this year it's going to be warmer in general with more heat wave days, along with, yes, heavy rain. The pattern of sudden heavy rain we've been seeing in the past few years definitely increases the risks of things like flooding and landslides. And this year, we have added the risk of spring wildfires that have already weakened the ground. Over 60% of the victims from such disasters were seniors. So the government is working to provide more efficient disaster alerts, including engaging local community leaders. Going back to the wildfires, the government is currently holding a survey into these wildfire-affected areas to take the necessary safety and ground fortification measures before the rainy season comes, before 장마 comes. The heat, the rain, coming earlier, and it's going to be even harsher, they say. So in this age of climate change, preparation will be more crucial than ever. All right, text topic time. You know, of these elements, extreme heat, humidity, rain, wind, and cold. 자, 이 중에서 which is the most unbearable for you? Okay? Your choices: extreme heat, humidity, rain, wind, or cold. Most unbearable. 자, 토픽이요. 더위, 습도, 비, 바람, 추위 중. 내가 제일 못 견디는 거는 네, 5개 중에입니다. So of those 5, which is the worst? I wish I could pick 2. Because I want to do extreme heat and humidity. 피디님, is that what you wrote? 저는 그 더위와 그 비보단 그 습도 있잖아요. The humidity. 저 아직도 I cannot get used to it. Because I come from like desert, like California dry desert, right? I cannot get used to it. But still, okay, if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the humidity. 저는 the 끈적거릴 the stickiness and the humidity, I cannot bear it. And plus, bad hair day. So, very vain. You can send in your opinions to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or 부산영어방송 to find our channel. You can subscribe and chat with our other waivers from your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk to find us. Also, same thing there, BEFM, 부산영어방송, to add us as a friend first, and then you can send in your messages. And the good thing about this, you can send in your photos, the ways you can listen to us, or nowadays, watch us as well. 90.5 or 103.3 FM on the radio if you're in the Busan area. Like I said, we're streaming live right now. You can watch again multiple times if you want at your leisure. We're available on the BFM app and also the 팟빵 app where you can listen to the 와글와글 segment. And I'm going to give a shout out to Lenini Nim because they say humidity cannot handle. I agree thoroughly. So shout out there to you. Looking ahead to our Friday morning, we have Casey coming in for Foreign Press Highlights. In hour number 2, we have An Gyosu-님, Andrew Millard with Global Affairs. For our special interview today, we're going to be focusing on this story, this fight to free the last American hostage held by Hamas. We spoke of him, the recent release of Eden Alexander, the last known American hostage held by Hamas. It drew a lot of international spotlight, not just because of the personal story, but also it did reveal much about this ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. So we're going to dig deeper into this story. This is coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:08. This is News Overview. Presidential hopefuls roll out birth rate policies. Key presidential hopefuls, including Democratic parties Lee Jae-myung, People Power parties Kim Moon-soo, and Reform parties Lee Jun-suk announced their respective pledges to tackle the country's low birth rate. APEC Trade Ministers meeting kicks off in Jeju. South Korean Trade Minister An Deok-keun will meet with U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on the sidelines of the summit today. Court won't comment on abstract allegations against Judge Ji Gui-yeon. Seoul Central District Court said yesterday that it could not comment on allegations that Judge Ji Gui-yeon was treated to multiple visits to an expensive hostess bar as the claims were abstract. Temu fined for Korean users' personal information leak. Chinese e-commerce platform Temu has been fined for secretly transferring South Korean users' personal information to China and Singapore, said the Personal Information Protection Commission yesterday. U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments on Trump's birthright citizenship case. The Supreme Court has begun hearing arguments on President Donald Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship, focus on whether lower court judges should be able to block presidential orders for the entire country. And this was News Overview. It is time to check in with Sejin for now in Busan. Good morning.
Morning.
It's Friday.
This Friday didn't come quick enough.
Oh, really? Oh, is there a particular reason? Are you looking forward to something?
I got a date.
It's date night. Oh, I know, we're so happy, like living vicariously through Sejin. Oh.
I feel so revealed and exposed. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Text topic.
Text topic. Okay. Text topic. You have choices. Extreme heat, 더위. Humidity, 습도, is that what it's called? And then we have wind, right? 바람, rain, 비, and then cold, 추위. Of those, which is the most unbearable?
I don't think I can stand wind and winter like cold.
The wind, really?
Fierce wind in
Fierce
winter.
wind.
That's unbearable for me.
That's kind of combining too, though. Fierce wind
And
in winter. Okay, but no, okay, I'll let that slide a little. Is there a particular reason? Are you just get really cold?
I hope you remember I'm really susceptible to cold.
Yeah.
And so my hands are always cold in summer as well. You can touch mine now and it's just really cold.
Let's see. Oh, 진짜 so cold. Mine were really warm, right?
What jealousy.
So hence you can't
And
handle.
feet as well.
Oh,
Always cold.
there's a word for it. I can't remember. It's
수족냉증.
수족냉증. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we can ask Dr. Ryu. That's one of the questions. But we're going to gather some questions to ask Dr. Ryu.
Really?
Yes. So that'll be maybe one of the questions we ask him. But for now, we're going to jump into Now in Busan. There is a new construction update that might impact traffic. So we need the latest on this.
Yes, Kat. There's going to be partial traffic control. This will affect the Olympic Dongsan three-way intersections to Udongcheon Junction along Suyang Riverside Road. The reason for this is they're carrying out concrete pouring work to connect Gwanghandaegu Pexco tollgate to the Centum City underground roadway. Out of 4 lanes, 1 lane heading towards Hyundai Beach will be closed starting at 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the 21st.
And so, just to be clear, because we want to clarify, this affects drivers heading to Hyundai Beach.
Yes, once construction is complete, drivers from Changsanlo heading towards Wondong IC will be able to skip this Olympic and Centum City intersection altogether throughout a new ramp bridge. There will also be direct access to the Centum City Underground Road.
So we're going to have to be a little patient, but there will be, I guess, much smoother traffic flow ahead. So, good things come to those that wait. So
Definitely.
let's be patient. Next up, I hear there is a new forest trail opening up in one of Busan's most scenic areas. So where is this?
A brand new barrier-free forest trail has opened in Eckerd, which is an area famous for its breathtaking scenery and coastal cliffs. So they kicked off the project last May with a 1 billion investment. And as of yesterday, the trail is officially open, fully accessible and ready to welcome everyone.
Wow, 1 billion won. That's quite an investment. So what makes this trail special?
One, the trail is fully wheelchair and stroller accessible,
Oh, that's good.
thanks to its gentle slope of less than 8%.
Okay.
Two, it's got 3 resting areas spaced along the path so that visitors can pause for a moment and enjoy the scenery.
Well, that's a great idea. More green spaces that are open to everyone. The fact that it's accessible. So what else is this place known for?
This place is incredibly rich in ecological value. With a diverse ecosystem, you'll find golden rain trees, black pines, sea pinks, and most importantly to me, salmandes. And essentially, it serves as a main entry route to the upcoming Eckerd International Art Center.
Indeed. So nature and art kind of meeting up in one place. So it sounds really unique. I'm happy that this is in Busan, right?
Yeah, that's the vision.
Yes, indeed. All right. So next up, I understand that there is growing concern over a child welfare center right here in Busan. What's going on?
Yes, a local child center in Busan is now under police investigation for allegedly serving expired food to children and for the suspected misuse of government subsidies. So last month, the local district office conducted an investigation and found food items well past their consumption date.
Yes.
Some dairy products were nearly 2 months expired and parts of the snacks were moldy.
Okay. So I was almost speechless. I mean... So let's talk about the children who were served. I don't even want to use the word served, but were given this food.
Roughly 20 children go to the center, and most of them from a vulnerable background, which rely on after-school care services.
Yes.
And after checking the site, the local authorities issued an order to improve how food is handled at the center. They also referred this case to the police to investigate whether the expired food had actually been served to the children.
Yes, and you mentioned something about, I guess, financial misconduct.
Yes, the head of the center is under investigation over the allegations of using government subsidies for personal expenses. Police are now looking into whether there was possible child abuse following the request from the local authority. But it's said they can't share the details at this point as they're still trying to establish the truth.
Yes, and of course, we're going to continue to follow the stories as it affects not just our area, but the fact that we're talking about little, kids. So thank you for the heads up on this story. All right, so what else is going on in our neck of the woods in Busan? In particular, I hear it's something regarding Hyundai. So what's going on?
So from the 16th to the 19th of May, the Hyundai Sand Festival will be taking place at Hyundai Beach under the theme K-Culture in Sand. It's actually the 20th anniversary of the festival, and it started in 2005 to celebrate the APEC summit.
Yes.
Apparently, over 1 million people visited last year, and it's now considered Korea's largest eco-friendly festival. And this year, the spotlight is on K-culture, not just K-pop or K-dramas, but also Korean food, beauty, and fashion.
Yes, indeed. So it's kicking off the 16th. That's actually, isn't that today? Yes. So which artists are we talking about? Who will be participating in the 2025 Hyundai Sand Festival? What kind of sculptures are they going to be creating this time around?
14 top sand artists from countries like US, Canada, and China, Russia will be taking part, including 3 Korean artists. And as for sand sculptures, they'll be creating iconic Korean symbols like the Dangun myth and Goguryeo hunting mules, Hangul, and you name it.
Yes. So in terms of the activities, because I've gone in past years, I've been several times. What kind of activities are available for visitors who want to check it out this time?
Plenty of families can build their own sculptures and take part in treasure hunt. For adults, there will be a special sandboard slope for the first time this year.
Okay.
There's also going to be a K-culture street just in front of the beach with old-school Korean games, calligraphy, and hanbok try-ons.
Nice, nice. So what about special performances or any type of entertainment?
Famous dance group Just Jerk and regular duo Haha and Skull. And you know the tiramisu cake that went on viral on social media?
Yes, yes, yes.
The original artist of that song, We Are the Night, will be performing as well.
Oh, nice, nice. So if you're in the area, if you have not checked this out, I would highly recommend it. So hopefully the weather will cooperate. We'll be able to see the beautiful art sculpture. It's in sand. So thank you for all the local updates. Thank you, Sajin. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
All right. And I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan. Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan. Morning Wave in Busan.
It's now 19 past the hour. Here's your traffic report. There is some heavy traffic on Mandok-daero from Minam to Mandok intersection right now. It's also congested on Luno-Samsung-daero from Myeongji Underpass to Shinho Bridge. It's looking slow on Gwanmun-daero from Bangum Tunnel to Baegang Tunnel. And it is backed up on Jungang-daero from Songgong three-way intersection to Seomyeon intersection. Currently, it's 19 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies here in Busan. There is rain forecast for the day later on, and the daytime high is expected to go up to 22, slightly warmer than yesterday. Looking ahead to the weekend, there's going to be rain through early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is going to be quite warm with a daytime high expected 27 degrees. Sunday will be clear with a daytime high of 26. Similar lows for tomorrow and Sunday. We're looking at anywhere between 16 to 17 degrees. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for top stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Michael was asking, cat 왜 울고 계신가요? 울고 있는 게 아니라
Just
웃고
laughing
있었어요. And I
at
was
me,
표정 관리가 안 돼서요.
mostly.
She was looking for, I said, something. I have to protect Haley.
Yeah, right.
보호해야 돼요.
My butt, as I like to call it, my booster. I have long legs and a short torso, and just generally short.
Who says you have long legs? Oh my
Me, myself. Comparatively, relatively to my torso.
비율 좋아요. 아주 좋아요. 그냥 just vertically challenged.
Yes,
but
vertically
yes.
challenged. So I'm on a booster because otherwise I'd be not on the camera quite well. Anyways, but somebody who used it last put it on the other side of the studio, but then we have a camera right at the smack in the middle of the studio. So
Don't we need to write your name on that?
I think I should embroider it.
Because
I should
that
learn
came
how to
out of our
embroider.
budget, didn't it? No?
It came out of the station budget.
Oh, it did?
But I'm
Okay,
the only
I
person who
apologize.
uses it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Anywho, yes.
text topic. Okay. We have heat, extreme heat, not just heat.
Right.
Extreme heat, humidity, wind, rain, cold. Just pick one.
If you can see, I do have curly hair and it's starting to grow out, and it just keeps growing out as hair does. So humidity. The worst. The worst. And then compounded by the fact that, speaking of one of the song requests,
Yes.
I got woken up at 2:30 this morning
Yes.
by a mosquito. And they do start hatching and coming out during the humid season. So
Right.
Yeah. It's just a really big test of my hand-eye coordination because I
Yes.
missed like 5 times before I finally caught it. I caught it. We're good. But yeah.
But still, I have a text message from Souvenir님. 혹시 사전에 옷 합의하고 오나요? 절대로
We don't.
아니에요.
Never, ever.
이래서 자꾸 웃어요.
And actually, she's wearing more tan.
It's a beige, and she's wearing more
and
of
I'm
like
more
an
like
ivory
cream, but it just looks really
it looks
similar.
the same. And then
I mean, potato, I get it, but it's beige and ivory, It's a little
we're
different.
like, twins with different mothers. Like sister from a different mother. Like we always say, like in terms of fashion.
Right.
Sometimes we walk into the studio, we go, like,
It's like, not even good morning.
like 이래요. 인사가 왜 입었어?
Why
Anyhow,
again?
Yes. So, 네. 똑같은 시간에 일어나.
She gets up, I think you got up way earlier than I
I wake
do.
up at today I had to come in early, but usually I get up at 4:20, 4:30. Yeah.
5:05 specifically.
Yeah. So, anyhow, I got dressed first.
Yes,
Copy me.
yes.
We're going to begin with news from the campaign trail. What's going on?
All right, so the candidates finally went their separate ways after the past couple of days in Yeongnam, but there was a spat over former President Yoon Suk-yeol and whether he should stay in the party or exit.
Yes.
Well, the consensus for the most part, even within the ruling party, the PPP, is that he should leave. However, there is a split as to how to go about doing this. So People Power Party, PPP's new emergency leader, Kim Yong-tae, said he would politely and gently recommend that the former president exit the party. Also, they're looking into ways to remove members who have been found to have violated the Constitution via a constitutional court's decision.
Okay.
Kim Yong-tae also said that the party will apply 3 principles of government, party cooperation, separating the party and the president, and banning the privatization of the party.
So where does the PPP candidate, the presidential candidate, stand on the issue?
Right, so Kim Moon-soo is taking a more neutral stance because politically there is still quite a bit of a pro-Yoon faction within the party, so he doesn't want to alienate them.
Yes.
So he told reporters yesterday morning that this is something for the former president to decide himself.
Right.
But he also said that the impeachment was actually justified and he will take measures to get the party over this impeachment scandal. And Kim Moon-soo also further apologized via an urgent press conference yesterday and said that had he known about the martial law declaration earlier, he would have done everything. He would have convinced the former president to stop and why he doesn't need to declare martial law. And then to another candidate, Democratic Party's Lee Jae-myung said that the position of the president is one of a servant of service. And if this servant mistakes his position and thinks of himself as a master, then he must be punished and held responsible.
Ah, okay. So that's where we are with that facet of the presidential election. One figure who isn't running but is constantly being mentioned in the presidential election related issues is former Daegu Mayor Hong Jun-pyo.
Right. So today we're talking about kind of the politics side of the
Right.
ongoing race. So Hong is actually not even in the country right now, but he continues to make political splashes. So the former Daegu mayor announced his retirement from politics after he was eliminated from the PPP primaries.
Yes.
And he's actually been staying in Hawaii. Hong also announced his exit from the People Power Party, and he has since then been firing attacks at his former party, prompting verbal spats with other party members.
Sure.
So it started with Hong saying that he has no choice but to sever ties with the party, whom he called the president was impeached 2 times on his communication platform on social media. And he also later added that he should have joined former President Roh Moo-hyun and should have gone to the budding Democratic Party 30 years ago when he left his job as prosecutor and joined politics. And then he added, then he wouldn't have had to suffer in a party where loyalty, morals, and common sense are absent.
Ouch.
I told you, he's firing attacks.
Well, this wasn't taken well by the people who are still in the party.
Well, mixed reviews because the party still needs him because he is once again one of the most high-profile
Yes.
members and has been for decades. So former party's emergency leader Kwon Young-se hit back and basically he attacked Hong Jun-pyo's character, saying you can't do anything about one's natural character. And then that prompted Reform Party's Lee Jun-seok, whom, if you remember, he used to be one of the former leaders of the party,
Yes.
joined the fight, but he actually sided with Hong Jun-pyo, saying that it's actually absurd to bring up one's character into this issue. But then floor leader Kwon Song-dong, he kind of tried to tide everything over, calm everybody down, extended an olive branch, calling Hong 선배님, a senior in the party, please direct any and all of your anger at me, Kwon, but also to help the party's candidate Kim Moon-soo, and called Hong a hero of the conservatives.
I see. Well,
Yeah.
a lot being said. Well, we're on the topic of the election. There have been some cases of people vandalizing the posters and banners of the candidates.
Right, and this is happening nationwide. But the very first case was reported a banner that was torn by about 30 to 40 centimeters in
Yes.
Donghae City in Gangwon. Someone also slashed the tires of a campaign vehicle in Samcheok. The suspect has been apprehended. He was intoxicated at the time, but he's also been booked for election law violation and property destruction. A number of other cases with banners being torn. Figures rise drastically when we factor in posters. Campaign posters have officially gone up.
Yes.
But the National Election Commission, the NEC, and the police have warned zero tolerance, very stern action against these acts.
Yes, and I have to say there seems to be this perception that, just like doodling or drawing on posters, is it a big deal?
Of course it is.
Yes.
It's actually a big deal legally.
Right.
That is against election law. And posts and online community comments are kind of this opinion that, as you said, doodling, drawing on posters is okay. It is absolutely not.
Okay.
So any form of vandalism on election material is deemed a serious crime.
Sure.
Because that infringes upon the voters' rights to know, and it gets in the way of fair elections. And this includes you committing acts while drunk, so that whole 심신미약, the feeble-mindedness argument will not work. And even younger kids who doodle, they may be punished as well.
I see.
By the way, any violation of this ban on vandalism, it's punishable up to 2 years in prison or up to 4 million won in fines.
Serious, so don't do it. Don't be
right.
tempted. Let's move on to another important topic, the economy. The country's fiscal deficit came to, are you ready for this? Over 60 trillion won.
Right, so we're talking about fiscal health, 재정 건전성 of the country, because according to the finance ministry yesterday, the government's total revenue came to 159.9 trillion won.
Yes.
That's in the first quarter of the year, but it spent 210 trillion won. So if we are looking at it, it's roughly 60 trillion won of 적자. We're in the deficit.
Right.
The government attributed this to the deficit to early and full execution of the budget to stimulate the economy. But this is also a little bit of good news, I suppose. 14 trillion won lower than last year's deficit. But last year's deficit was the highest on record, and this year's is the second highest. So experts say that this is a warning sign again about the country's fiscal health.
I see. So maybe not a great ruler last year.
really.
Okay. So let's talk about this kind of everyday aspect of the economy. Spending cash, or more specifically, not spending cash.
Right. So I want to know, waivers, do you have cash on you? 현금 있으세요?
Like how much do you
얼마
keep?
있어요? I'm not trying to take it from you. I'm like, 얼마, but like, how much cash do you have?
I always have emergency cash.
Our producer has to buy the lottery ticket, so she always has 5,000원.
5,000원. How much do you have on hand?
I have, specifically, I counted 16,000원. Because I always carry cash because I
Right.
sometimes forget my wallet and I have to buy subway cards or subway tickets. Yeah.
For me, it's like I normally don't have that much cash on me. So anywhere between like 5,000원 to 10,000원. But today I
Yeah.
checked. And so 어쩌다가 I think I borrowed from my roommates.
Like
and I forgot
borrow or
borrowed.
Okay, got
borrowed and I forgot to put the change back. Sorry. So 오늘은 너무 많이 있는 거예요. 저도 놀랐어요. 그래서
Let's go get brunch on your
37,000원이
roommate.
있어요. I was like, I feel so rich.
She rich.
네. 37,000원. 슬프다. That I feel rich with 37,000원. But so tell us about this.
Well, cash
Yes.
spending, cash
네.
usage is rapidly decreasing, which makes sense. So according to the Bank of Korea survey, over 3,500 adults, cash usage came to a little under 16%.
Yes.
However, credit cards, 40% 46%. Check or debit cards, 16%. And
Yes.
even mobile cards were about 13% of total usage. And this is a rapid decline in cash usage. Back in 2013, 41% of all spending was done via cash.
Yes.
But there's, of course, naturally an age pattern. People in their 20s using more their debit and check cards. Credit card usage spikes to people in their 30s through 50s.
Yes.
But then once you hit 60 and above, definitely more cash. And that's because for older individuals post-retirement, it might be more difficult for them to get a credit card issued. So credit issues.
Okay.
So an average person in South Korea had 66,000 won, 66,000 won in cash.
Okay.
And I'm like, who?
I know, that's
right?
a lot.
But average. It's tricky because that's not the median. Well, people in their 50s and 60s are really dragging up that average because they're at times carrying over 90,000 won, 9만 won, so almost 10만 won in cash. But then when we get down to people in their 20s, that whittles down to 27,000 won. But even compared to other countries, South Korea's cash usage was fairly low, 29th out of 40 major economies.
Yes, yes. So does this mean that cash will eventually be phased out?
I mean, in everyday usage,
Right.
maybe, because there are a lot of stores that are going cashless. And even if you factor in kiosks, I mean, you can't use cash. There's also a trend in buses, even with pilot programs in Seoul, Incheon, Daejeon, Daegu, and Gwangju, and so on, implementing cashless buses. But then also what about for travelers? Because
Right.
sometimes they're not going to get the traffic cards. ATMs are also disappearing fast. There's even a growth of these stable coins and speculations that they might even replace physical currency, which is cash. However, according to officials, in this case, the Bank of Korea,
Yes.
no. They're
Okay.
not going to get rid of cash. Cash will always stay because this is via their recent briefing. The bank will never get rid of the cash, was their official statement. Because there are always risks to digital currency. I mean, what if
Yes.
your battery dies? We've unfortunately had
Right.
cases of telecom companies getting shut down, their power outages there. So we need physical currency for people who are also not accustomed to technology.
Yes.
And even the reason that we use digital currency with our minds at ease is because we have this faith that we can always go to the bank and exchange that for cold, hard cash.
True.
So we need to keep this trust in the currency system.
Indeed. And I remember like the first time I ever took like an intracity bus, like I didn't know how to, I didn't have the
Right, you don't have the card.
I don't have the card,
Right.
so I didn't know what to swipe, and everybody was doing ding ding, and I was just like kind of like looking, and the driver of the bus was kind of like looking at me like hurry up, and I was just like,
You're just
what do I
counting the
do?
coins.
And then he's like, swipe your card. I'm like, I don't have a
What
card.
card?
What card? So I had to pay the
Yeah.
amount, like ton whatever it was, and then thank goodness I had cash on
Right,
me.
right.
or else
Thank
I
goodness
would-
they took it.
So let's
Yeah.
see what he said. Get off. So all right, let's move on to some international news where there was a meeting of Ukrainian and Russian representatives in Istanbul.
Or there will be, but
Okay.
it won't be Zelensky Putin. Right. So that's a no-go on
Okay.
the top-level
Yes.
talks. There are delegations in Istanbul instead for the first meeting between the two countries since March of 2022. So
Okay.
this is significant, although not the one that we were hoping for.
Right.
The talks are set to begin on Friday local time. Zelensky said that Kyiv would push for an immediate 30-day ceasefire. However, Zelensky is in Ankara, the Turkish capital. He met with Turkish President Recep Erdogan, but he also expressed disappointment at Russia sending a lower-level delegation. But he's saying that Ukraine remains committed, although this might be more of a message to U.S. President Donald Trump, who also added that probably things won't get done and progress won't be made unless he is physically in the talks.
Oh.
So yeah.
Well, that's it for all the news for hour number 1, but we'll have more in hour number 2 with Waglwagle with Haley. Thank you.
See you in a bit.
And we are ready for our first song break. So here it is. This is Beyond My Dreams by Sun-woo. Yes.
오늘도 고독한 상상이 구름을 타고 온다. 조조 내 마음 신호가 꺼지지 않게 조심히 하나 둘 셋 이 작은 불빛이 너에게 와닿길 바래 이 작은 볼잎이 너와 눈 마주치길 바래 물빛 하늘 내 맘 수평선 파도에 손등 고래 날개처럼 하얗게 신기한 그림처럼 Beyond my dreams 매일 조금씩 닮아간다 나만의 상상 속엔 느린 내 걸음도 멈추지 않아 이제 다시 시작한다 이 작은 햇살이 너를 감싸주길 바래 이 작은 웃음이 내 눈물 닦아주길 바래 너의 바람 물결 인사 눈빛 바다 그대 상상처럼 푸르게 신비한 풍경처럼 Beyond my dreams
The Korea Broadcast Advertising Cooperation (KOBACO) is offering support for the production of broadcast advertisements for innovative small and medium-sized enterprises. Up to 45 million Korean won is available for television advertisements and up to 3 million Korean won for radio advertisements. Applications will be accepted until 6 p.m. on June 2nd. For more information, please visit the KOBACO website. We appreciate your interest.
It's time for Casey and Foreign Press Highlights. Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine.
How are you?
Good.
Oh, we kind of match the neutrals going on. Are you
Yeah.
going on a safari? Like I am?
Now that you mention it, it looks like it looks like I'm going to pull an
And
exotic
you match with
animal
our
from the
producer
side.
too. We're all going to safari together. on
This
a
morning
Friday.
I brought a macaw with me. I'd like to demonstrate.
I love it. I love when you go into character.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I just saw myself. I was like, yeah, I look like that dude. Like, was it Jack Hanna? Was that his name?
Yes.
I got a boa
sorry.
constrictor to my left here. Hold on.
I don't know what accent you're doing, but I love it.
It's, yeah, I don't know either.
How are you, Casey?
Good.
Apparently very
Fantastic.
good.
Fantastic.
You know, our text topic today, though,
Yes. I
you
do
have
know,
to
actually.
choose just one.
Uh-oh.
You
One
can't
animal?
combine.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. Extreme heat, humidity, wind, rain, cold. Which is the most unbearable?
For me personally,
Yeah.
cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't handle it.
You can't handle the
No.
cold.
I get like all winter long, like I'm embarrassed to shake hands with people because my hands are always like freezing.
Really?
Yeah, like-
Just like Sejin was saying earlier. And she, like, I touched her hand and they're like ice cold.
Right now I'm good.
You're good.
Because the ambient temperature is nice.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
but
you're
like
okay.
throughout the whole winter, I'm just like uncomfortable for, what is it, like 3 months?
3 months?
Is that right?
I don't know. In Korea,
What
it's
is winter?
longer.
Yeah, winter's weird, right?
Right.
Whatever it is.
But you're like the cold you
I
can't
hate
handle.
it. Hate it, yeah. Just
Really?
uncomfortable.
I'm so uncomfortable with the humidity here.
I mean, it's not like fun. You know, I'm not like,
You're not really
yay.
enjoying it. Yay.
More sweat. But at least like
Right.
I don't feel like I have, limbs are like going to fall off or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's the worst.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you for letting me vent.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that cold.
Let's get into our segment. What do you have for us?
Well, we're going to talk about some things, of course, going on in Korea from some international publications.
Yes.
And I've discovered a new international publication this week I was unaware of. That was like really cool. So for the first story I want to talk about today is about the experience you have when traveling, especially on highways in Korea. Have you
Yes.
taken any road trips?
I have recently. I had to go to a funeral.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was not pleasant. But
So during that trip, did you end up like making any stops at like a rest stop area or anything?
I really wanted to. And I kept on looking at my roommate, like, can we make a pit stop?
Right.
But like he had like, you know,
Time-wise.
time-wise,
Yeah,
we're
right.
like, we got it. It was during that long holiday, and there's
Right.
so much
Oh,
traffic.
yes.
So he was just like,
Nope.
no, we're getting back home. Oh,
Understood.
yeah.
Understood.
Well, why do you ask?
Because I noticed we took a road trip during the
Yes.
long holiday as
Uh-huh.
well. And I took a stop while everybody fell asleep in the car. Yes, score. And I was
Is
just.
that good?
Oh, yeah.
But what if you get drowsy while you're sleeping?
Well, that's why I stopped. Because everybody was
okay.
sleeping and it was like kind of quiet. And I was
And
like,
you're
all
like,
right, I
okay.
need to stop and
Yeah,
get something.
take a break.
And I noticed, again, I was like, oh, this rest stop too, they have that robot coffee maker. Have you seen those?
Yes.
Yeah, so those are becoming more common.
Absolutely.
And they're kind of fun to watch for like a minute. But
There's a
so
big but.
apparently not everybody's impressed with the service is the story here.
Okay.
The headline is Robot Chefs Take Over at South Korea's highway restaurants to mixed reviews, and there you have it. This is not a robot serving coffee.
That looks like ramen.
It is. And that's what this story is explaining and kind of why people are, as they say, having mixed reviews about it.
I wonder why. Does it taste bad?
It's not as good. That's like the overwhelming consensus is not
There's
as
no
good.
손맛.
Exactly.
Is that why?
Because look at that son. There's no son.
I was gonna say what's one?
Yeah,
I don't
there's
see
no
the
son,
one.
right? That's kind of a
Yes.
key point. So, and I was thinking about it. Like, actually, when I go to a rest stop area, like the last thing I want to eat is ramen. How about you? Is there like a food you usually get?
Of course, ramen. That's the best.
Really? No.
Really?
No, I'd rather like make it myself.
I like the ramen. And then our producer is so curious. 저기 붙은 떡은 누가 떼서 주나요? Like the duck that's stuck to the bottom.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like sand dollars.
No, that's like the best, like the chewy duck.
I see.
You're
So
not
you're a
into
fan.
duck.
You're clearly a fan of this.
No, because like I normally don't have ramen. And then
so this is like
I have ramen like 3 times a year. So like if I'm gonna go to a rest stop,
Yep.
I'm gonna order the ramen. Right?
Gotcha. And you're expecting
Yes.
that duck to be in there.
It better be in there if I order the dong ramen.
I'll remember that.
Okay, so
In case I make
paid
some
extra
someday.
for that dog. It's gonna
I
be in
gotcha.
there.
Our family, it's always like hodu gwaja. Everybody's wait.
hodu gwaja.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I see.
But apparently, there's a rest stop in Gangwon-do province called Munmak. There's a rest area there.
Yes.
And one of the chefs that still works there, her name is Park Jung-eun. She would make makguksu.
makguksu.
I would be more game for that. And if you're not
Really?
sure what makguksu is, I imagine if you're in Korea, you know what that is. But if you're
Yes.
not, it's, as they say in this article, an earthy Korean dish.
Yes,
Made with buckwheat noodles, steeped in a tangy ice-cold broth, topped with spicy gochujang paste, which is redundant. Gochujang is paste, right?
Yes.
Yes, but anyway,
Anyways.
they're explaining to readers. And they said truck drivers would actually come from far away to this rest stop just for that. Oh. It's not on the menu anymore
It's not
because the robots can't make it.
because there's no hands.
Perhaps. Is that the reason? Yeah.
I mean, how are they
you
gonna
need-
mix it?
That's okay. That's a good point. I didn't know why the robots couldn't make it, but they didn't explain that. Maybe that's
Okay.
the reason. They said basically, since they've had 3 robot chefs since February of last year, the menu has changed away from local delicacies like makguksu and slow-cooked beef stews. I'm getting hungry.
Yes, I'm so hungry now.
To easy stuff. So
Like?
ramen, udon, and some varieties of Korean stews, like the easy stuff.
Stuff where you don't need to do a lot of like, you know, like stirring, like basic stuff.
Right.
Or like pulling.
Right, you're right.
Yeah.
because the robots can't do it.
Kneading. Yes.
But the robots can make 150 meals every hour, which is nearly double what Park could make by hand. So it sounds like a good change, right?
Well, you would think so,
But
but
Park says now when the longtime patrons have learned that the menu has changed, they just like and like walk out the door. They're
But
like, no
that's-
thanks.
I can see why, because some people, they have like, as you have your favorites.
Sure.
I have mine. And some people really enjoy, for example, like the pork cutlet, like the dongasu, like
right.
at like, their favorite. A particular,
Place
at their rest area.
Right.
Yeah, they have their favorites, right?
Sure, sure.
And then to go in and be like, whoa.
It's gone?
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that feeling of disappointment. Like,
Yes.
right, don't change.
Right.
But they had to change. The women working at the rest stop, like this article it's really a long article actually, and
Yes.
I recommend reading it. But basically, they were saying like they worked 12-hour shifts, and it was just like the pay was not that good,
Right.
And it's hard work.
Sure.
You're gonna get burned throughout the
I'm
day. You're picking
sure.
up like heavy pots. So there weren't enough workers to like fill demand. So thus the robots.
I see.
Yeah.
Very interesting read.
Yeah.
But now, do you have another story for us?
Yeah, I'll make that quick.
Yes. No.
This-
We have time.
Oh, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just mention one more thing about the robot chefs.
Sure.
This was kind of an important thing in the article.
Right.
They are concerned that if robots take over, like what will happen to the jobs for the workers at these rest areas. A lot of the rest area workers typically are women who are a little bit older.
Sure.
So one of the people quoted in the article, according to a study done by a public administration professor at Korea University, the government really needs to invest in retraining programs to help workers adapt to new kinds of jobs
That's
or
true, though.
shifting job roles
Sure.
at the rest stops even. And they said so the main chef they talked to, she said, we used to work at our own stations. We had particular things to do.
Yes.
Now we have to know how to do everything. Because what if you're working alone with the robot, and the robot's like, glitching in the corner, right? They have to know like what the problem is and like how to reset the robot, and then
Yes.
they have to be ready to do everything. So she said in some ways it's a little more intimidating.
I'm sure. And it's technology too.
And limited choice on the menu now. No makuku. 없습니다.
Not good. All
Yes.
right. Next story.
Okay, so this is also related to food.
Okay.
But also related to politics.
Oh.
So I was thinking about this. I'm not a coffee drinker. Do you partake in the coffee?
What? Maybe a cup a day. Maybe.
Okay, yeah.
So infrequent, not
gotcha.
every day. Yes.
Do you, when you get coffee, do you usually end up going to the same kind of coffee shop or same location, or?
I go next door, but we can't say the name.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you order your coffee, do they have a number for you, or do they ask for your name or something? How do they do
Well,
it?
I know the big one, the
Yeah.
S brand.
That's what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, they do. The coffee shop next door, he knows everybody, and we know him. So it's just kind of like,
Okay, so does he use your name?
oh yeah, he knows everybody by name.
Oh, so do you like that? Do you like having that
Of
experience?
course, yeah.
Okay, and I guess that's the idea behind the big brand doing that as well. And this, of all places, was published in Fortune magazine.
Okay.
But the original story comes from the Friends Press Agency.
Oh.
So yeah, this has kind of been like reported in many outlets. The headline is Starbucks is banning in South Korea. Starbucks in South Korea is banning customers from using the names of presidential candidates for their orders. So people are being creative. So, like you said, this big brand. One
They
of the
call out
things
the names, right?
Right, but you put in whatever name you want to use.
Right.
So if you want to use a nickname, you use a nickname. You do it when you order through the app, apparently. And
I have a question.
Go for it. Come on.
What if that's your real name?
Whoa, interesting. Because that, you know what?
I have a right to use my name, do I not?
Interesting. Like, what if your name happens to be the same as a presidential candidate?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean,
Well, then this is a tough time of year for you to begin with.
my whole thing is then why? Why are you banning me from using my name?
Fair question. Here's their explanation.
Okay.
So they talked about this past Wednesday. They said it's banned customers from using the names of the country's presidential candidates or the disgraced ex-president, as they say, for their orders. And the reason they said they had taken this action in the past, and they said it was based on past experience of customers misusing the Call My Name feature during previous elections. So I guess it's up to their discretion.
I guess like people abused it.
Yeah.
They misused it.
Yeah. No, you're right. Abuse, misuse, same thing. Yeah, I agree.
Like using it as an opportunity to,
promote their ideology.
to politicize coffee.
Well, and think about it, like, okay, I get it, like on one level where you may be trying to be cute or something, or
But that's
maybe trying to be funny.
when you
But
think about it, you're at like, let's say SB.
yeah,
And then you're waiting for your drink.
and
then you
probably
hear,
early in
like-
the morning.
Yeah, and then you hear like, ding, 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 and you're like, what is he here? Is she here? Like
Like kind of tricking people that
I
way.
don't know. You know?
Right. I think so. To answer your question, they don't address that at all. But I guess they have to use their discretion because they said, in addition to the presidential names, they said in a statement that this unique service is designed to build a sense of connection between store staff and customers. We do not take any religious or political stance, and we actively monitor and restrict the use of negative language, profanity, sexually explicit content, or any expressions that may be difficult or inappropriate for our staff to call out. It reminds me like perhaps as children, in some places, when you call an establishment and ask for a name, you know, like, can you see if so-and-so is in the store and the name might be inappropriate? Right. So I guess they have to use their discretion. Like, do they believe whether your name is really the same name as a candidate or not?
Right. And then there are always the creative people.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Who, you know, the common name feature, you know, they use like 짜장면 시키신. That's their name. So they have to read it out. 짜장면 시키신 고객님.
Right.
Oh, you guys are so smart. I'm too lazy to be that creative. To get my coffee.
I would totally be entertained, but I understand why they're not.
Right. Well, we're gonna have to call it a wrap for your funny segment.
감사합니다.
And we welcome you, of course, next week. You're welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should I give you my name so you can call me?
Yes,
I'll be waiting outside.
All right. Thank you, Casey.
감사합니다. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. So we're gonna get to a song request from Michael. This is Insomnia by Hui-sung.
You know that I love you. Can't you see my eyes? There's only one the real slow. 내가 달리는 길은 love. 허나 그 길은 온통 피할 수 없는 함정은 맘에 겁 마치 늪처럼 용기를 삼켜 점점 난 작아져 사라져 가는 얼굴에 밝은 표정 내 고백에 등 돌린 채 외면할까봐 자꾸 두려워 하늘 같은 걱정을 뱉고서 오지 않는 잠을 청하고 꿈보다 더 생생한 네 생각 때문에 끝내 밤을 세워 Feels like insomnia Feels like insomnia Feels like insomnia Feels like insomnia 너라는 곳을 향해 외로워도 가는 길 love 몇 번은 넘어져도 일어서갈 테지 but 저마저 못 들도록 너를 보다 걸려든 병 네 사랑 갖지 못하면 날 수 없지 영원토록 죽도록 너의 허락만 기다리고
휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전. 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
꿈의 가치를 생각합니다. 빛나는 아이디어로 도전하는 청년의 꿈. 새로운 기술로 시작하는 스타트업의 꿈. 더 크게, 더 높이 성장하는 유니콘의 꿈. 가능성과 잠재력에 주목한다면 꿈은 무한한 미래가 됩니다. 현재보다 미래 가치로 모두의 성장이 모두의 미래가 되는 사회, 우리가 함께 만들어갑니다. 이 캠페인은 기술 기업의 스타트업부터 스케일업까지 함께하는 혁신 성장 플랫폼 기술보증기금이 함께합니다.
(5월 24일) 토요일 오후 1시 영화의 전당 여의무대에서 만나는 작은 지구촌 축제. 영어와 음악이 함께합니다.
BFM Allstar English 공개 방송. Hello world, let's be friends.
저 에이시아 푸기
And me, 민수.
그리고 개그맨 이상훈,
감사합니다.
가수 와니와 아론, 래퍼 윤비까지 이 라인업 실화.
From a fun English quiz to a freestyle rap battle, get ready for a time full of laughter, music, and making new friends with Allstar English.
May 24th, Saturday 1 p.m. 영화의 전당에서 우리 그날 친구 할까요?
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It is now 8 o'clock. This is the second hour of Morning Wave in Busan. In Spotlight News, presidential hopefuls roll out birth rate policies. Key presidential hopefuls, including Democratic Party or the DP's Lee Jae-myung, People Power Party or the PPP's Kim Moon-soo, and the Reform Party's Lee Jun-seok, announced their respective pledges to tackle the country's low birth rate. Lee Jae-myung proposed a universal parenting and child care system and to allow for all workers to be able to go on parental leave regardless of their employment type. Kim Moon-soo pledged to structurally resolve the low birth rate problem by lessening young adults' burdens related to employment, housing, education, marriage, and parenting. Lee Jun-seok, on the other hand, promised to provide mobility benefits to households with 3 or more children, including discounts for parking fees or free valet parking. APEC Trade Ministers meeting kicks off in Jeju. A trade ministers meeting of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC member economies, kicked off yesterday in Jeju to discuss challenges facing global trade. On the sidelines of the summit, multiple bilateral meetings are being held to highlight the country's efforts to address such issues stemming from growing trade protectionism. South Korean Trade Minister An Deok-keun will meet with U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on the sidelines of the summit today. Court won't comment on abstract allegations against Judge Ji Gui-yeon. Seoul Central District Court said yesterday that it could not comment on allegations that Judge Ji Gui-yeon was treated to multiple visits to an expensive hostess bar as the claims were abstract. The statement came a day after Representative Kim Yong-min of the Democratic Party disclosed a tip-off during a parliamentary session. Ji is the presiding judge for former President Yoon Suk-yeol's insurrection case and was the judge responsible for canceling Yoon's arrest over the martial law bid in March. Temu fined for Korean users' personal information leak. Chinese e-commerce platform Temu has been fined for secretly transferring South Korean users' personal information to China and Singapore, said the Personal Information Protection Commission, or PIPC, yesterday. The PIPC said it has decided to impose a fine of 1.36 billion won on Temu for violating the Personal Information Protection Act. Temu entrusted the processing or storage of personal information to multiple businesses in South Korea, China, Singapore, Japan, and other countries for product delivery, but did not disclose that in its personal information processing policy, nor provided management and supervision to multiple partner firms. U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments on Trump's birthright citizenship case. The Supreme Court has begun hearing arguments on President Donald Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship, focusing on whether lower court judges should be able to block presidential orders for the entire country. The U.S. Solicitor General argued that lower courts overstepped the authority, saying this power should be curtailed. Meanwhile, the New Jersey Solicitor General, arguing on behalf of a group of states, said siding with Trump would create a patchwork system of citizenship. It is not clear when the court will issue its decision. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for Waggle Waggle. Haley's back.
Good morning again.
That's right. Well, you know, we began this show. I began with the opening talking about we look forward to Friday. And for some people, like Sejin, she's looking forward to date night.
You know what? I'm glad one of us, one of all of us, the entire team has a social life because one should. I mean, her
I have
shoulders
a social life.
Yeah, okay.
It's date night for me too.
Okay. Sure.
왜? Date night. 나도 있어요.
Pay your
오늘.
roommate back. Put his money back in his wallet.
37,000원. He doesn't even know it's missing. So shh, it's a secret. But it's Friday, and like chicken is almost synonymous with Friday night outings, or for people who, you know, may not have a date ordering in. But apparently there is 너무 얄밉죠.
Chicken attacked.
Chicken shortage. Chicken shortage in the country?
Once again, I feel attacked.
안 돼요, 이거는.
I know.
네.
So, again, question for our waivers is on our YouTube, but what is your favorite chicken, period? And what's your favorite chicken part? 제일 선호하는 치킨.
sorry.
Oh, really?
Before you even
부위는 wings?
Wingbong and like the legs. No?
Oh, so do you always like order a combo?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Okay.
어쩌고 combo.
Anytime we get like, let's say we get a whole chicken.
Right.
And like everybody knows the legs are mine. Or at least one leg is mine.
Because I don't like the legs. I don't like drumsticks.
Oh, really?
It's not my least favorite part, but it's not my favorite part.
Yeah.
I like the thigh meat. Yeah. All right. So a lot of people don't like the white meat, which is, chicken breast.
Yeah, the chicken breast.
I actually always get boneless because I like to just stab it with a fork and just eat it. I don't like to. Yeah. And
I don't know. I like
trash.
the trash.
Yeah, it's a trash issue. Anyways, so as you can tell, people have very specific preferences.
Yes.
This is a serious issue. There are fights over who gets the drumstick because chickens only have 2 legs. So some chicken franchises are seeing a shortage in certain supply of certain parts. Specifically, the favorites: boneless chicken, wings, the wingbong, and drumsticks. So everyone's favorite part.
No, because S안님 다리 윙봉 세트 먹습니다.
그렇습니다.
저랑 같은.
맛있거든요.
No.
So 굽네 chicken, let's name names. Boneless chicken supply has been quite unstable to the point that some franchises are saying if they put in an order for 10 with the headquarters, they get 3. So that's pretty serious. So because of this, because one of the best sales items for that brand is their boneless chicken, like the spicy, crispy one, they've seen a 20% decrease in sales. Although we cannot specify that to the supply issue. It could be inflation. It could be the economy.
Sure.
In any case, so franchise owners held a press conference in front of the headquarters building earlier this week and demanded a solution, but they have not received a response yet. Another franchise, Kyochon, they're saying that they've seen trouble with certain parts as well that's used for the combo. By the way, in Korea, when we say combo for chicken, it's usually the combination of the wings and drumsticks. So that's the favorite parts. And that's also led to about a 20% decrease in their sales.
I mean, you lost me at like chicken shortage because I was like so sad inside. But why is there a supply issue?
So companies are saying bird flu, avian influenza, that AI, and climate issues. So AI, avian influenza, has led to an increase of chickens getting cold, basically getting killed. And of course, the wildfires in the southeastern, the Gyeongnam, Gyeongbuk areas, that's led to damages in poultry farms.
I see.
So there's been and then overall, there's been an supply issue. And then on top of that, summer is also kind of a peak season for chicken because people are going out to the beaches. They're calling things in.
Sure.
And honestly, if it's hot, you don't want to cook. So you order in. Right.
Yes.
So companies say that poultry producers have actually even reduced the production of certain chicken parts because they right now have a backlog of the more unpopular parts,
such as
chicken breasts. So they're trying to get rid of that too. So companies are trying to cope with that by developing menus that utilize the entire chicken. So kind of like maybe roasted chicken or like 통닭, sort of the old-fashioned style in recipes. So yeah.
Yes, so send all the breasts, chicken breasts to Tommy. He likes the white meat.
All right.
다 가져가세요. 네. You can have it all, Tommy. All yours. So thank you for sharing. And like, we have people popping up, people I've never even heard of.
I love
They
it.
want to comment on the chicken.
Yes.
Yes, because chicken is like a national snack. All right, next. South Korea's adopted these lime green, really bright license plates for expensive corporate vehicles to deter people from using these company cars privately. And for a while, it seemed to have worked, right? But it seems like the plan may be backfiring.
A little bit. So a little bit of background. Starting this year, corporate vehicles, so company cars that are worth over 80 million won, 8천만 원 이상, they get these lime green license plates. Let's just say they pop. They definitely add a pop of color.
Yes.
Does lime green go with anything?
I don't know.
You know. That's usually
it's
like
very bright.
It's very bright.
Yes.
So purchases of expensive corporate vehicles that were worth over 100 million won, 1억 won, it actually declined after that system went into effect. Excuse me, that was last year, not this year.
Yes.
However, starting this year, they're actually coming back up. So people have either gotten used to it or there's like a different reason too. So according to a vehicle data company, there were 12,000 corporate vehicles worth over 100 million won just in the first 4 months of this year. Let's compare that. This is up by 22% in the same period from last year. And this includes not that 1억 100 million won is just about anything.
Right.
But we're talking super cars, 115 Ferraris, 100 Lamborghinis. Again, these are corporate vehicles. So why would you need a sports car for your company is my question. 49 Rolls Royce, 22 Aston Martins. By the way, compare that to last year in that same period. One singular Aston Martin was sold in that period. 22-fold increase. So according to industry insiders, that green plate, the kind of shaming effect, may have worn off.
Right.
Initially, people just kind of felt a little embarrassed to have that plate.
I don't think they are, though, to be honest.
Now they're not because they now are kind of sometimes are taking that as a sign of wealth. Like, oh, look at my corporate vehicle.
Exactly.
But at the same time, the number of personal vehicles worth over 100 million won, that's gone up, but only by 9%. 22 versus 9. So 9% increase isn't nothing, but definitely smaller. So with this trend, the luxury car brands are really boosting their marketing in South Korea, focused out of all the other countries too. And experts say that this may be a sign of economic polarization, which we knew is happening, but again.
Right. I mean, my neighbor, like coincidentally, just rolled in with a our
one
brand.
of these.
And like everybody like doesn't park next to.
Oh my gosh,
Just 'cause we don't want to ding his car.
By the way, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's, because companies, if they have VIPs, maybe
Right.
they do want one of these supercars. But the problem is it's not for corporate usage because sometimes it is everybody in the owner's family gets a corporate vehicle and pays corporate taxes, which is lower, and then buys fuel off the company card. And that's a waste of the resources.
Yes. Well, that's that story. Let's move in a completely different direction. A South Korean student got in trouble in China for alleged illegal filming. What happened?
National embarrassment,
Oh,
right?
no.
I mean, alleged. So,
Alleged.
a high school in Busan took a trip to China, to Shanghai, and visited the Shanghai Motor Show. Here, a male student got in trouble for alleged illegal filming. Took a photo of a woman without permission. So a Chinese woman, and this entire interaction was videoed as well. She claims that this Korean student took a photo of her without permission, and then she came up to them and demanded to see his phone.
Yes.
And in a video now of that interaction, you do see a photo of her on his phone.
Oh, really?
And she's basically like squatting down on the ground, and it's from the front, but it's from far away, zoomed in. So, doesn't look good. So she took him to security, and in the video, again, you do see him like profusely apologizing in English, and he ends up crying in the video. And he also deletes the photo in front of the security guard. So this video went viral in China with locals criticizing him, and some Koreans and even from his school criticizing him, saying that he embarrassed the school. Like, why would you do that? His identity was made public because he was wearing a necklace, a badge with his name and his school name. So everyone knows.
But the school, I hear, actually came to his defense.
Which is interesting because he did take a photo without permission. But when inquired by the media, this Busan area high school said that the student didn't take this picture of her on purpose. We don't know what evidence they're basing it off of, but that the photo was deleted on the scene and he came back to the country safely. The student was apparently scared because there were no teachers around him to help him, and there were some language issues, and that he's currently in a state of anxiety because he's basically getting cyberbullied. People have found his social media. Again, they know his name. But also the school said that they are looking for a way for him to apologize to this woman directly. So there's a bit of a mincing of words because if he didn't take the picture on purpose, but he also wants to apologize to her.
But then earlier you said he apologized.
Right.
In
and
English
the photo
repeatedly,
was zoomed in. So it's like, did he really not take the picture on accident?
I don't know. I don't know the intent.
I'm not a judge, but
does not look good. All right, for a final story, a British man managed to get free food. What's with the food, Haley? So hungry at this point. At McDonald's for almost a month, and this is a news story, so we can say it.
Oh, sorry, it's almost a year. That was a typo. Yeah, my bad.
A year?
A year.
That makes it like
even more astounding.
How?
I don't do this.
Okay.
Don't do this. But
we need to calm down.
This British man used AI, ChatGPT, to trick McDonald's out of free coupons and vouchers. So if you eat at fast food restaurants, any one of them, they give you receipts, and there's usually like a survey at the end of the receipt. When you do this, they give you some coupon codes or something, like you can get a free cookie or whatever. This guy had ChatGPT craft a very detailed, exaggerated complaint, and then he submitted it.
Okay.
As a result, sometimes if you have a complaint, they will offer you free vouchers as an apology.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that, he would go to a different location. Repeat. And he would even just pick up a used receipt or unclaimed receipt from the trash or from tables. And basically, because sometimes, depending on the branch manager, because it's up to their discrepancy, he wouldn't get a free coupon. Then he would tweak it. He would have ChatGPT tweak it and just make it bad enough that it prompts a free coupon. So he did this for 9 months, almost a year, before the local McDonald's branch caught wind of it, and they put up signs in the restaurant urging customers to leave positive reviews because that affects the store's rating, and it's a corporate franchise. So they likely suffered due to the excessively negative reviews. And this man, he basically boasted about it online. He goes by the nickname Gage and has a podcast, and basically told everybody how to do this, and he claims it's harmless.
Is it though?
I know. Is it? Because, I mean, fine, large corporations, but...
What about the franchisees, though?
Exactly. And this could put workers out of work. And because if the negative feedback mounts, they can also get negative points from the corporation. So really, is it harmless? Yeah.
I don't know. Well, thank you for going over all the waggly news from all around the world. And we're thoroughly hungry, thinking about chicken on a Friday.
And burgers.
Yes, and we'll definitely check in with you on Monday. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great Friday night.
All right. And now it's time for your updated traffic and weather. It's now 8:18 on this Friday morning. Let's check out the road conditions. Right now, it is very congested on top of the Gwangan Bridge going towards Taean. Also, looking slow on Chungjang-daero from pier number 4 to pier number 3. And also congested on Chungang-daero from Songgong Three-Way intersection to Seomyeon intersection. Currently, it's 19 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies here in Busan. There is rain in the forecast later in the day, so you're going to need your umbrella. The daytime high will go up to 22 degrees. Looking ahead to tomorrow and on Sunday, the rain will continue until early tomorrow morning. But for the lows on both Saturday and Sunday, pretty similar, anywhere between 16 to 17 degrees. And tomorrow, a high of 27. And on Sunday, 26. This was your traffic and weather. And this is Christina Aguilera, Come On Over. This is our special interview. You may have heard about the recent release of Eden Alexander, the last known American hostage held by Hamas. This has drawn international attention, not only because of the personal story, the personal toll it has taken on him and his family, but also because of what it reveals about the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas and the role of international diplomacy. Let's find out more about the situation. We have invited back to the airwaves Michael Burch, Associate Professor of Political Science at Eckerd College. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great as well. Thanks for joining us once again. So, first of all, can you explain the backdrop, the circumstances surrounding Eden Alexander? I believe he was abducted, correct? And how this went about and what we know about him?
Yes. So Eden Alexander, he was one of the hostages taken on the day of October 7th, the initial Hamas attacks into Israel. Eden was serving in the Israeli Defense Forces at that point. He was about 10 months into his mandatory military service. And so when Hamas overran one of the southern military bases, he was taken hostage and back into Gaza.
Yes. And so in terms of his captivity, what did he say? Has he said anything? What do we know about his captivity?
Most of what we've heard so far is from his father, who said that, initially, because he was a soldier, he was in uniform, he was interrogated a lot initially, had a bag over his head, treated as a high priority hostage. But as his father said, well, he'd not been serving for that long and he was very low ranked, right? Just doing the mandatory military service, not a career officer. So They eventually came to realize, the Hamas interrogators realized they actually knew more about the base and Israeli operations than he did. And so they started to loosen some of the restrictions, but he, suffered, kept underground for over 500 days. They said his body was covered with bed bug bites, and had lost a lot of weight from a very restricted diet, and so other kind of physical injuries from collapsing tunnels, and so really went through a lot. 580 days is a long time.
Definitely. And so why did Hamas choose to release Alexander now? As you said, 580 days, but the timing of this.
Well, one is that, something we haven't mentioned yet, right, is that Alexander, he, is a dual Israeli-American. So he has dual citizenship. And so in that sense, while there are still a lot of hostages being held, whether alive or deceased, he was the last remaining dual citizen, the last remaining American hostage. And so the Trump administration had put a lot of pressure on on Israel, on Gaza to try to get him released. And so with President Trump currently, going on a tour of the Middle East right now, going to Saudi Arabia, going to Qatar, going to the United Arab Emirates, there was, this idea of timing of trying to, reach out and make a direct connection, right? This is where, we've talked in the past, negotiations go, Hamas, Qatar, Israel, U.S. This time it was initially Hamas reaching out through other intermediaries to talk to the United States directly.
Indeed. And when we talk about his release at this point, where are we with the current conflict between Israel and Hamas? Have there been further talks? Where are we in that conflict itself?
Well, there's really been a lack of talks between Hamas and Israel themselves, through their intermediaries. And in fact, Israel has signaled that they are going to be ramping up military operations. They held off until President Trump's visit to the Middle East is over. And that's another reason we might be seeing this now, with the idea of trying to put pressure on Israel via the United States, because Israel has been cutting off a lot of access to humanitarian aid going into Gaza. And so the hope Hamas is that like with this gesture, because there's nothing guaranteed with this, that like maybe the United States might put pressure on Israel to go into negotiations over the rest of the hostages.
Yes, indeed. And so Hamas said that with the release of Alexander, that it was also intended to facilitate a deal for the entry of humanitarian aid. So do you think that they're being sincere about this? And also if you can tell us about the situation on the ground in this area where, of course, there's a great deal of, a need for humanitarian aid right now.
Yeah, and so, well, one is that we should highlight in thinking about like Hamas reaching out to trying to put pressure on Israel is that there's a divide, right, between the Israeli government and the Israeli public in the sense that the Israeli public expresses a desire for the remaining hostages to come home, that it's very important for this idea, whether these hostages are alive or deceased, the, kind of social contract, the agreement that Israel will do anything to get back its citizens. And so for Hamas is hoping that like this puts more pressure on the Israeli government to negotiate when they see this. And that's because things have gotten really bad. We see in the media reports from Israeli officials acknowledging that the malnutrition levels of children in Gaza are skyrocketing. And to think about we're now into, almost summer of 2025, where the conflict began. The military incursion into Gaza starting in late October and early November. And we are talking a long time, multiple years of agricultural interruption, huge displacement. And so there's a huge strain on the population.
Yes.
And so Hamas is hoping by releasing this hostage, right? This is the first time really they've released a hostage without any kind of guarantee of a quid pro quo. They're hoping that they can increase pressure to avoid this next military incursion to try to get more aid in, and so they can buy some time and solidify their own position.
Indeed. And so in terms of international diplomacy or, pressure from, for example, the Trump administration, do you think that it's been, I would say some people would say it's been quite effective that Eden Alexander has been released, but in terms of other roles international diplomacy has taken, do you think that it's been effective thus far?
Well, I think one thing that it does help do is that, while the countries that President Trump was visiting, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, they are not huge allies of Hamas. But at the same time, they are very much against the scale of the conflict between Israel and Gaza. And, the Trump administration is incredibly close with Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. And those countries all want to see the end of this conflict. They want to see the end of the fighting because it's very disruptive to their regional diplomacy. And so the hope being that having this happen now, that it might increase that the United States might increase pressure on Israel. It is, it's very hard to predict what will happen, because of the fact that no one in the region that the United States is working with wants to see Hamas in power. And so the question is how do you end the conflict, but also don't have Hamas still as a strong power in Gaza? No one's really come up with a solution for that.
Yes, indeed. And as we also think about the remaining hostages, I believe that there are about 58 hostages remaining. Could this latest release of Alexander set further precedent, maybe, pushing Hamas to release the remaining hostages, or do you think that this was just, at least for the time being, that this was it?
Well, Hamas has signaled that they are willing to release the remaining hostages. especially because, as highlighted earlier, many of these hostages that are remaining are thought to already have been deceased. It's about half are thought to be deceased. And so, but it's still very important within Jewish tradition, Israeli tradition, to have the bodies returned to Israeli soil. And again, the Israeli public really values that. Every opinion poll shows that getting the hostages home is of paramount concern.
Yes.
And so seeing this after a long period of no hostages released is really that kind of hope that, well, maybe something can happen. Hamas is hoping for a 90-day ceasefire. And, the Trump administration, while being very bellicose in like a lot of their rhetoric, or, very confrontational, does not want to see a lot of conflict, right? Like wants to try to extricate itself. Had reached with the Houthis in Yemen.
Yes.
Up attacks. So the hope being can we get to a ceasefire? There is a desire for that kind of deal in the U.S. And so perhaps that could lead to a lasting ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
I see. Well, of course, we're going to continue to follow what happens here. But in the meantime, thank you so much for covering the latest on this hostage release, Eden Alexander. And take care, Professor. Thanks for joining us once again.
My pleasure. Anytime.
This was our special interview. So once again, this was dual citizen Eden Alexander, last known U.S. hostage, dual citizen of Israel as well, taken by Hamas, recently released, but of course, there are still those who are being held by Hamas. We're going to take a short song break, and this is Blowing in the Wind by Bob Dylan, as requested by William.
How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must the white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many years can a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? Yes, and how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? Yes, and how many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
It's time for Global Affairs, and we have in the studio with his amazingly cute tie, 안 교수님, aka Andrew Millard. He's in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
I love it. Golden Retriever
That's right, this morning,
puppies.
Golden Retriever puppies.
Just in case we do not have, if you're not viewing us if you're not watching us on YouTube, the mic is covering. There we go. I love it with the background of the blue. It's so pretty.
Right.
So,
well, it's Europe month. So this is my Europe tie.
Oh, that's
so the gold and the blue.
Love it, love it. So meaningful. Hey, so what are we going to be talking about today?
So today, this has been a big story in the news. Well, especially in the international news.
Okay.
I'm not so much sure about the Korean news.
Sure.
But obviously, it's about Donald Trump. I think these days, pretty much every news somehow involves Donald Trump.
Yes.
But this one, he's been on his big tour of the Middle East. And before he left, he was gifted, in inverted commas, gifted a 747.
Meaning like a plane.
A jumbo jet plane worth several $100 million. And he decided that he would accept this.
Is it okay to accept it?
In his own words, he said he would be stupid not to accept this. So this has caused a huge sort of controversy in America. And actually, this is one issue where both Democrats and Republicans have both come out and said, no, you should not accept this gift. This is not acceptable. But
it's not $400, it's $400 million.
$400 million.
Interesting.
I thought we'd talk about the various issues related to this gift.
So, I mean, gifts, right?
Right.
Sometimes, like, you get the best gift, you're like, this is so thoughtful. And then other times you're kind of like, like, thank you for the thought. But inside you're thinking, that's a little, interesting. Right.
So what I thought we'd do is, this week there's going to be no light-hearted story
at the end? Okay.
Instead, what I thought we'd do is, I'd ask our listeners, is there any strange or unique gift that they have received? So if they want to text in and let us know any sort of strange or useless or crazy gifts.
unique, 이상하다 그런 거보다 조금 unique, like
좀
특별한 그런 선물 받은 적 있으면 공유해 주세요. Like share with us your stories. I'll go first just to give you an idea of what 안 교수님 is talking about. So recently, I believe it was for Christmas. It was a few months ago. I received a gift, and it was through the yellow cotton, the messenger kind of gift. And you have to enter your address and name so that they can ship it to you. But it was from my daughter's, boyfriend. So I was just like, oh, so sweet. He sent me a Christmas gift. And I was like, what is it? And at first I was like, what is this? I had no idea what it was. It was like a contraption. I was like, what is this contraption? And it was like a hand massager.
Okay.
Like literally the very popular purple brand, I can't say the name, and then I think the one people know the ones where you put your legs in them and then they like inflate and they massage your legs, but you put your whole like forearm into this machine-looking contraption and like it massages your
that's a nice
arm.
gift.
But at first I didn't know what it was. I was like, what is this thing, right? And I was like, what is this? And then I got it and then I tried it. And then he wrote in the little card, the message, he was like, oh, because, you're always on your computer and, if just in case you have like,
gift.
for your, carpal tunnel or something. I was like, oh, that's so super sweet. Anyways, if you're
also
listening.
Maybe, you're getting older, so here's a present.
I was like, what are you trying to say? So in terms of like, the whole gifting to like presidents or leaders of countries or companies, this is kind of like, it should be done with caution, right?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, the practice of giving gifts to presidents and other officials, when you have these official visits to other countries or meetings, this is standard. So this is not, the fact that he's receiving a gift is not unique in itself. Just the size of the gift. So, for example, this is not just presidents, this is presidents or politicians.
Yes.
Basically any civil servant receiving a gift, they need to declare especially if it's quite a nice gift.
We have a
they're
long
receiving.
Korea, Kim Young-nam-bob.
Oh, so the Kim Young-nam-bob in Korea.
Exactly.
I mean, the same.
Because, we don't want to be gifted something that is so big that it's going to,
Or if you receive the gift,
yes,
it's not a personal gift, it's a gift to the institution.
Right.
So, for
Very
example,
important.
when I was at the university working as the Dean of International Affairs, we'd have many visits with other universities, and we'd go and we'd give them a small gift, and they would give us a small gift. But I would never take them home and say, "Oh, hey, Yobo, look what I got." They would always stay at the university in the case.
That's why we say it's a small token of our appreciation. There's a phrase that we use, right? And it stays at the school.
But this one, Donald Trump, he's gone, no, this is a nice gift. This is a great gift. I'd be stupid not to accept it. So I'm going to accept it. And he wants to put it in what's called his presidential library, which basically means when he's no longer president, he can still use it.
Yes.
For his personal use. So this is where sort of that issue of, is it a personal gift or a gift to America? There's a bit of a question mark there.
Yes.
But like I said, all public officials should not be receiving such elegant gifts. And this is really basically to prevent corruption.
Oh, of course.
So especially in Korea, you mentioned the Kim Young-nam-bob. This was about 10 years ago now that was introduced?
I don't even know, but like
about 8 years ago,
when it first came out, I remember like all the profs were like, all the like educators were like super nervous.
Oh, right.
To the point where like we were told the school was like, in the beginning, nobody knew like the parameters of the law, the new law. So they were like, don't accept even like a canned coffee from a student. And
I was also told the same.
Exactly, right? So even like recently, because I had like a slight cough, I was like choking on my own like, phlegm. And then a student gave me a piece of candy. And even that I felt uncomfortable.
Right.
So I gave her Pegwon and I said, everybody, I go overboard. I'm paying her for the piece of candy. So I don't want people to think I'm giving her favoritism for a grade because of a piece of candy.
So I'm also the same. Or you also have quite a lot of exchange students from different countries. And at the end of the semester, because they have no idea about this Kim Young-nam-bob, they'll come and give me a little small, just like a magnet.
A small,
something, say, oh, thank you, Professor, for the semester.
Right.
And I don't know if I can accept this. But
exactly.
But now I know. I think is it
under
30,000
or whatever it is. Yes.
So yeah.
So we're overly careful.
But definitely in Korea, this issue of trying to reduce corruption, that was why the law was introduced. And I think it was a very good law. I think it's working well.
Yes.
So that's really the main reason.
Yes.
And again, also to avoid conflicts of interest. So to make sure that public officials, we're supposed to work for the country.
Yes.
We're not supposed to be gaining huge amounts of money or assets.
In theory. That's
so
the
again,
goal.
This is really the other reason why we set these limits of what we're allowed to accept and not accept.
I thoroughly agree.
So I think a £400 million jumbo jet, I'm pretty sure that crosses the line.
Above and beyond.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
And then next one is also to uphold transparency and accountability.
Yes.
So making sure once we're in office, whether that's just a small public civil servant, that we're doing our job, that we're doing it ethically, that everything is transparent. So this is also where it's quite interesting in America right now. So Donald Trump, the Americans, they seem to be doing things which are not so ethical, but they're doing it all out in the open. They're doing it very transparently. So this is what is causing a little bit of sort of confusion. Like, oh, is this acceptable? Because he's not hiding it.
He's declaring it. It's out in the open.
It's very much out in the open.
Right.
He's even praising the Qataris.
Right.
Oh, look at what they're giving us. And
so does that make it okay just because you're open about it?
No.
In short, no.
But again, a lot of people will think, because he is so open about it, it must be okay. So this is again another issue.
We have William who lives in San Francisco, who is American. Jokingly says, the Saudis offered me the same airplane, but I refused. Impractical for crossing the Bay Bridge. He's in San Francisco. Wouldn't fit in my garage, he says.
Yeah, you need a pretty big garage for that.
You would need a huge one, yes. So people are definitely getting, the message of what you're trying to say.
And also, I guess the last issue, especially for America, it really is the security issue.
Right.
So you have Qatar, which is a government, which has also funded Hamas, which is on the US terrorist list. But then you have Donald Trump saying, "Oh no, it's fine. This is a lovely plane. This is the best plane in the world. We should accept this." So you have these security issues where even if they accept it, they're then basically going to have to take everything out to make sure there's no cameras or microphone recordings or anything like that.
Yes.
And then rebuild it, which is going to cost a huge amount of money.
I didn't even think about that. The logistics of it.
So there's logistics, security,
assuming that he really
costs.
does take the plane, takes possession of the plane.
Right.
Because I was thinking about this. Maybe he just said it because he, likes making splashy headlines. So he was saying, "Oh, what a wonderful gift." And then is he really going to, take the gift? I don't know.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he is.
Oh, really?
Or if it ends up that he's forced not to accept the gift,
yes,
then I'm sure he'll say that this was his strategy to push Boeing to bring in the brand new Air Force Ones, which Boeing is building now and is behind schedule.
Air Force One, yeah.
So he'll find some way to make it okay. That's the problem.
So he might spin it, huh? Yes.
Yes. Oh, he'll spin it some way. But so just because of this, I was looking at things around the world. So obviously the US, they have what's known as the emoluments clause, which basically means they're not supposed to accept certain gifts or gifts of a high value.
Yes.
And if they do, basically they're given to America, not to the presidents. In the UK, UK is pretty strict. I don't know the value.
Yes.
Very similar to the Kim Jong-nam Bob.
I see.
If we receive any gift of a certain value above, we must declare it.
Sure.
If it's a $400 million jumbo jet, we must hand it over to the government.
Or just not accept it.
Or not accept it.
Yes.
So South Korea, we talked about the Kim Jong-nam Bob. And the European Union, again, same. Very strict codes of conduct applying to all public officials.
Yes.
So it seems this is a globally sort of common idea not to accept such
You would
big
think
gifts.
so. You would think so. You would think that, people of, that stature in that position would be able to say thank you, but no thank you. Thank you for the gesture.
Right.
네, 선물은 마음으로만 받을게요. But, it's just be able to say no thank you.
Right.
And going back to, you threw this question out to the waivers out there. So what is the most unique or strange gift that you have received? So Umberto apparently says an angel like a doll the size of a child. And so he thought it was kind of Umberto is a grown man. So he was like, it was kind of creepy, he was saying. Because he's like, I'm a grown man. Why are you gifting me?
Does he say why he got this present?
It was a present he didn't say. I don't think he did. But he was like, yeah, he only said that he got it and it was the size of a doll. An angel, but it was the size of a doll. And to him, it was a little creepy.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd be a little creeped out. I got that.
And people are commenting like that's how horror movies start. Yes, and so other people, some people even mention cash to them, first when you first come to Korea, the whole issue of cash being gift can be a little bit different from somebody else's culture.
It can, but I've become very much Koreanized now.
I'm used to it. I love cash.
Any person who has a birthday, a wedding, a funeral, whatever.
Cash is king.
Cash.
좋아요. Yes.
Nice and simple, nice and easy.
All right, well, we're going to call it a wrap. So thank you so much for coming in and giving us something to think about. Gifts. So, be careful what you give and, let's think about it before we give and before we accept as well. Well, we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, have a good weekend.
All right, this was 안 교수님, and it's time to say goodbye for the entire week, actually. Wishing you a fantastic weekend. This is Fantasy by Mariah Carey. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.